I mean, truly, that's probably the two, and the willingness to again say yes. Back to the first part of our interview, the willingness to actually look forward and realize that the modern financial system is broken, it's slow, it's expensive, and there's nothing that can be done on blockchain that can't be done better than the way that the current financial institutions are working. Swift is an absolute disaster. There's not a week that goes by that I'm either trying to send out a wire on a Friday afternoon or trying to receive a wire on a Friday afternoon. You're worried if you're going to hit that 4 o'clock cutoff time, where you might not see your, whatever funds you're supposed to be receiving in the ordinary course of business, for another 72 hours or whatever it might be. It's insane. Why do banks work 9 to 5, with a long lunch break, Monday through Friday? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's, you could go try and get a mortgage in the United States or really anywhere else around the world. But, you and, whoever your spouse is, you could sit there for 90 days, 120 days going through and know your customer with a bank that's literally been your banker for the last 25 years, and it takes you, 120 days to get a mortgage to buy a house. By the time you get the mortgage, the house that you want to buy is already gone and, your dream's already imploded. Like, this isn't modern finance. This is incompetence. Try and transfer money across the world. You want to go buy a watch. You want to go buy a car. You want to go, do whatever it is. The banks take half of that. You have currency conversion rates. You have all sorts of things. You have to find a branch bank in a country with a banker you've never spoken to before. You don't even know if they're, a real life banker or they're a fraudster. Whereas you can open up a DeFi app right now. You can open up, any cryptocurrency app and you can send money wallet to wallet instantaneously without the expense, without the variability. Our banking system is broken. Our banking system is antiquated. Our banking system favors the ultra wealthy. And what actually got me into it is the fact that I realized our banking system, it was weaponized against the vast majority of people in our country, either the people that don't have the zeros on their balance sheet or people who might have worn that red hat that said, "Make America Great Again." And it forced me into the crypto world. And I'm telling you, if the banks don't watch what's coming, they're going to be extinct in 10 years.
Hey, what's going on, bull runners? Welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered if the crypto world is hiding something big, like a secret plan by the giants to control the future of your money? Well, today we're peeling back the curtain on 3 massive stories shaking the crypto space. Ripple's rejected bid for Circle, Coinbase fighting for your privacy, and Tether's bold move into the US stablecoin market. These aren't just headlines, they're signals of a deeper shift, a power grab that could change how you use crypto forever. And the problem is the big players are moving fast, and if you're not paying attention, you could be left behind. But don't worry, I've got you covered, so stick with me for the next few minutes. I'll break it all down in simple terms, showing you exactly what's taking place and how to stay ahead. Plus, we will be jumping over to X to find out all the breaking news that's happening in the crypto world today. We will head over to Forex Factory and take a look at the numbers that came out this morning if you're wondering what's going on with the markets today. We'll also give you an update of what's about to happen tomorrow. We'll also jump into Altcoin Pro University and take a look at the DeFi market update for May 1st, 2025. There's a lot to take a look at. We will also be taking a look at the XRP charts on the daily and weekly, and we're going to be looking at our next resistance and support levels for XRP. We'll also check in with our short-term, long-term momentum waves, and so much more in today's video. So if you're like most people where you don't get the opportunity to spend hours a day in the crypto news like we do here for you on this channel, make sure you subscribe. And if you're feeling bullish about this current bull run, let me know by commenting 777 down below. And before we jump into the breaking news over on X, I did want to let you know right now, Bull Runners, our YouTube channel and our X page, go over and follow us if you are not, at Bull Runners HQ, is giving away 100 XRP this week. So last week, Trial by Fire won that for winning last week's XRP giveaway. If you want to win this week, all you need to do is like this post, comment XRP, and then sign up for Blowfin using our affiliate link by clicking the link right here. The winner will be announced in our daily email newsletter you'll be able to check out. All you got to do is subscribe for that right here. On top of getting entered into this chance to win, everyone who subscribes to our daily newsletter also gets our free ebook, Altcoin Secrets. So head over to X right now, get entered to your $100 XRP giveaway right away. Before we jump into the headlines today, let's go look at the overall health of the crypto market on CoinMarketCap. We did it. We finally broke the $3 trillion market cap. This is the highest level in the last 30 days. And when we zoom out to the last year, We have not been above this level since March 2nd of 2025. The really exciting part is the last time we were at this level is 3.15 trillion. And if we continue to surge above that, it is another level of market structure that we've broke. So if you remember, we were just talking about this level right here, 2.87 trillion. We just recently surpassed that at the end of April on the 22nd, creating a new higher high, which is very positive news. So what we'll be looking for in the market cap is either to continue surging or have a small pullback and not creating a new low. We cannot have a lower low, which our lowest level as of recently was on April 8th, all the way down at 2.4 trillion. So right now, looking good. Market structure turning to bullish. $3.01 trillion total market cap. Volume a little low today, $82 billion. Current fear and greed index coming in at 51. It's looking like the April 8th level of 15 of extreme fear is the local bottom here. Now surging up. Yesterday was a 52, last week a 53. Altcoin season index coming in at a 15 out of 100. So it is still mainly Bitcoin surging to the newer levels. It is Bitcoin season. You can see here all orange. Yesterday was an 18, last week an 18. And that's due to the fact that Bitcoin dominance continues to surge. It's up at 63.7% right now. Taking a look at the Bitcoin ETF tracker, as you remember last week, we had an amazing surge to the upside, second largest week of all time for ETF inflows, over $3 billion. But the volume is starting to weaken out here, so not very exciting. Coming to the end of the week. Now, yesterday's reports has not officially come out. These are the reports from April 29th, looking at minus $56 million. But when we take a look at the week, it is still a positive week. Like I said, last week, over $3 billion. And this week right now, we're sitting at $708 million to the upside. Taking a look at the top 5 cryptos by total market cap, Bitcoin obviously coming in at number 1, nearly $2 trillion market cap. Again, it's at 1.9 trillion right now. Ethereum at 222 billion. Tether at 148 billion at number 3. XRP at number 4, trying to climb and take back that number 3 spot, currently at 129 billion. BNB at 84 billion and Solana at number 6 at 77 billion. Checking in with the important financial news that's helping the market's volatility here. First and foremost, we had the unemployment claims come out this morning at 5:30 a.m. and it was a disaster. Unfortunately, the forecast was 224,000 claims that were projected, and it came in at 241,000. We did have one positive green light today, which was good, as a manufacturing PMI. Yesterday, also having negative numbers. In fact, the GDP did not come out great. And the biggest bad news yesterday was the non-farm payroll, forecasted at 114, came in at 62,000, a really horrible loss there. Tomorrow, we have some important information coming out 5:30 a.m., hourly earnings month over month. Non-farm employment change, that'll be a big one for us. But the big important number for tomorrow is right here. Unemployment rate projected at 4.2%. We'll see what that comes out. I'll report back to you tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe so you can keep updated. Heading over to X to find out all the important news that's happening right now. I do have another calendar that I found for you guys. This one's really, really impressive for sure. Go to LayerGG on X.com, and they put out a calendar every single month, which is really, really powerful. But as we can see right now, coming out on the 1st, initial jobless claims, the Fed's balance sheet, Japan Bank of Japan interest rate decision, Coinbase Bitcoin yield fund coming out, MicroStrategy earning call, WLD with a live update with Sam Altman, Rune Mainnet version 3.5, and Sui has a massive unlock today, 25.3 million worth of coins unlocked. And the news ahead for tomorrow, Friday the 2nd, U.S. unemployment rate, U.S. non-farm payrolls, Binance is going to be delisting Alpaca, PDA, Vibe, Wing, and Spot. Pendle will have fee structure update. ENA a $14.9 million unlock, and Sui Basecamp will be happening as well, the 1st through the 2nd. Also, breaking news, NVIDIA, the 3rd largest company in the world to add undisclosed amount of Bitcoin to their balance sheet for stability. A large number of investors have decided to exit their GameStop positions after the company's lack of exposure to Bitcoin. As you know, GameStop sold some stocks, tried to raise some capital to buy Bitcoin. The announcement of that purchase has not come out yet. GameStop also was sitting on billions of dollars worth of cash that they could have used for that as well. They still have not made the move. Also breaking, Ripple becomes the first blockchain-powered payment provider licensed by the Dubai Financial Services Authority. And big news coming up tomorrow, Ripple's executive chairman and co-founder Chris Larsen is set to meet with the new SEC chair Paul Atkins. Also big news, Charles Schwab, $7.13 trillion asset managers to launch the spot crypto trading within 12 months. And Ripple posting today, the Middle East and Africa are among the most exciting regions for enterprise crypto adoption, and Ripple is proud to be leading the way. We're the first blockchain-enabled platform payment service provider licensed by Dubai Financial Authority, offering solutions from global payments to secure crypto custody.
Middle East and Africa is one of the most promising regions in the world for enterprise crypto development and adoption. The United Arab Emirates is one of the first countries in the region to provide regulatory clarity for the industry. We are proud to be the first blockchain-enabled payment service provider to be licensed by the Dubai Financial Services Authority.
So another huge win for Ripple in the finance markets. And as you remember, a couple of days ago, we had the video about David Schwarz and his update of his military uniform. And this is interesting. It says, wait a minute, Joel Katz, aka David Schwarz, our favorite CTO, changed his profile picture to military theme. And 5/17/2025, so that would be May 17th, 2025, is Armed Forces Day. And if you do the math here, you got a 5, 17, and 2025. So 5 equals 5, 1 plus 7 equals 8, and 2 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9. 589. And as you know, we've been following very closely with the Bearable Guy. Well, Not Financial Advice also posted a really interesting riddle scenario here. Nothing to see here, just a riddle book called Barely Bearable about a cartoon bear named Riddle Bear whose riddles like Joel Katz.
A little over a year ago, I found an old riddle book called Barely Bearable, whose main character is a cartoon bear named Riddle Bear. Here are some of the riddles in the book, and here are David Schwartz's tweets. I mean, talk about riddling cartoon bear archetypes. The book is literally called Barely Bearable about a riddle bear, and David Schwartz's tweets look like they came right out of the book.
So an interesting find here. Let's take a look at this. So famous bears from history. Which English bear wrote plays that are the most well-known in the English language? William Shakespeare, with the answer being upside down, obviously here. So let's take a look at David Schwartz's post. What sounds like Tom Jones and is made of brass? Trombones. I have decided that starting tomorrow, I'm not going to post here anymore. I'm not going to post here any less either. And on the bear riddle over here, which American bear was a catcher for the New York Yankees? Yogi Berra. So very interesting stuff. And I did want to point this out as well. Just as a PSA, someone did get hacked for their stuff. And this was a pretty creative way that it happened here. So he actually applied for a job. He got a LinkedIn DM from someone claiming to be a recruiter from Alchemy. After she reviewed the resume with the team, she got back saying I was going to be suitable for the role. And then she sent me a link to complete a 20-minute time test video recording. And if any of you guys have ever applied for a job, they do that now where you go in and you do an actual camera to computer interview. It's not like you're actually talking to someone and they will test you on certain things. During the process, there were some issues with the webcam access and the site provided suggestions on how to fix it. Since it was time test, I rushed and followed the instructions blindly, thinking everything was fine. Later, I received a transaction alert from Magic Eden app, and that's when I knew I effed up. Enabling those permissions and rushing through, the hacker somehow gained access to my wallet extensions. I didn't sign anything suspicious, so it was likely session hijacking or some browser level exploit. Lessons though, hacks can happen anywhere, everywhere, even through what looks like a legit Web 2 job process. So be careful out there. And then also we do have that Layer GG calendar here. I make sure that if you're on X, go ahead and like that so you can keep it. Every month they come out the new calendar. And they also put out everything in writing for the days as well. I'll keep you updated. Just in, Visa and Bridge launched stablecoin-backed cards across Latin America. Users in Argentina, Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico, Peru, and Chile can now spend stablecoins via Visa, merging crypto and everyday payments. And new Ripple is said to have offered $4 billion to $5 billion for Circle. I know this happened yesterday, but I'm going to go into deeper detail. The bid was rejected. And another scam alert here, make sure you're paying attention to. Scammers are sending physical letters to Ledger users posing as the company, requesting seed phrases for critical security updates via QR codes. Ledger confirmed that the letter is a scam and cautioned its device users to stay vigilant against phishing attempts. And as we saw in the intro of today's video, Eric Trump warns that banks could become extinct in 10 years if they do not embrace crypto. And it's really starting to look like that. Every bank is starting to really get involved. Federal Reserve just said they're allowed to use crypto now, and it is going that way. So is this, as some are saying, the mark of the beast, the crypto? Is that they're going to have complete control of our financial system, or will this provide more opportunity for freedom? So is it a control mechanism or a freedom mechanism? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. All right, so let's talk about this $5 billion purchase that was rejected. According to the April 3rd Bloomberg report, Ripple put a bid for $4 to $5 billion as part of an attempted takeover of Circle, which was rejected as being too low. So it's interesting because it's rejected as too low, but maybe it's not an impossible feat. Ripple hasn't considered whether to make another bid to purchase the stablecoin issuer. And this bid came less than 30 days after Circle applied for its IPO in the United States. And as you've been paying attention, we've been talking about the Ripple potential IPO. Now we know Circle is also going after an IPO, but Ripple's reportedly to have an $11 billion valuation last year, an estimate that Brad Garlinghouse called outdated as of January. The blockchain company purchased prime broker Hidden Road for roughly $1.2 billion in April, claiming the move would help scale activity for XRP and XRP Ledger. And of course, we know that the cases are winding down. In August of 2024, a court found Ripple liable for $125 million. However, Garlinghouse announced in March the SEC planned to drop its appeal against the firm, ruling that Ripple will later, stating that they'll have to pay a net only $50 million for the lower court judgment. And what's interesting is if they were able to pay that $50 million in XRP, we know that they have XRP from the very beginning. So it would be literally the cheapest way out is to pay with XRP because they had their own crypto. And we do know that they use XRP and sell it on the market or over-the-counter trades behind the scenes to run their business. But just imagine, let's say that you personally bought XRP at 55 cents and then it went up to $3 and you sold there. Imagine the profits. We know that Ripple's been holding XRP since the very beginning, so they've got it for the cheapest possible value. So $50 million of XRP payout is nothing as opposed to $50 million in USD payout. Now, both announcements followed meetings between Garlinghouse and Stuart Alderati and Donald Trump. The blockchain firm contributed $5 million to Trump's inauguration fund, and they did pay him in XRP. Both executives attended events as official guests on January 20th. So I think that Ripple will continue to purchase this Circle. They're going to continue to go after this multiple times until they get the price right. Well, we don't even know if Circle is having conversations with them. We don't know if they've had a counter offer or anything like that. We've done an article on Circle, which Circle could potentially be the most profitable business in crypto because there's no overhead, there's no fees for them. It is all, they just collect fees when people buy and sell and trade USDC. So it's an amazing business model. Obviously, Ripple having to pay a huge number up front. But if you could combine Circle USDC and Ripple RLUSD, the market caps of those coming together, they're going to be able to get closer and closer to rivaling with Tether. And speaking of Tether, Tether plans to use the stablecoin launch as soon as possible this year inside of the United States. Now, as you all know, Tether's been having troubles with compliance when it comes to US regulation. USDT is already the US dollar's largest exporter. Tether's flagship stablecoin, USDT, is already US dollar's top exporter, having a market cap of $150 billion, as we cover each video in the beginning. USDT is working to woo US regulators by proactively collaborating with law enforcement, highlighting USDT's benefits for the US economy. He says, "We're just exporters of what we believe to be the best product in the United States ever created, and that is the US dollar." As of April 25th, USDT's command of roughly 66% of the market share among stablecoins. Tether is also the most profitable stablecoin issuer, logging a net income of nearly $14 billion in 2024. And it earns its revenue by accepting US dollars to mint USDT and then investing those dollars into highly liquid, yield-bearing instruments such as the US Treasury bills. And this is what I'm telling you. Look at, they made nearly $14 billion in 2024. Now you can see why Ripple would want to buy Circle USDC, because it's starting to make its run to the upside as well as far as market share. Adoption of USDC has accelerated in the wake of President Trump's November election. Nansen said that in April 25th report, Circle's USDC has a market cap of more than $60 billion. However, USDT is likely to maintain its leading position in the stablecoin market. Despite the potential dispersion of stables, we inevitably believe that the winner takes most market dynamic. So Tether is working really hard with regulators to get pre-approved for United States work. And speaking of working with regulators and trying to get things passed, Coinbase files brief with the U.S. Supreme Court in order to support of taxpayers' privacy. So Coinbase, which is currently the biggest crypto exchange in the United States, just filed a brief with the Supreme Court, and they're backing a case against the IRS, which wants access to crypto users' personal data without clear justification. And Coinbase is arguing this violates your constitutional rights. And the reason that this is important is because privacy is a huge issue in crypto, as you know. If the IRS gets broad access to your transaction data, it could scare off users and hurt adoption. Coinbase's moves show that they're fighting for you, but it's also a part of the bigger battle against overregulation. A win here could set a precedent, keeping your crypto activity private and boosting confidence in platforms like Coinbase. But on the flip side, a loss might mean more government oversight, which could shake up the market. All right, looking at the DeFi market update from DeFi Mo over on our Altcoin Pro University, let's look at some capital flows. What's happening right now? Bitcoin is having outflows of 41,000, and that is creating a new reserve low of Bitcoin for 2.48 million coins left. Now, Ethereum, on the other hand, actually had 160,000 Ethereum flow into central exchanges, but their reserve also running low, 19.56 million. Bitcoin is being accumulated, ETH likely rotating for yield or exit. Some on-chain signals right now: total value locked, $104 billion, which is up. Stablecoin inflows, which is up 5.26 billion, which is all-time high. And you're starting to notice all of these articles coming out, just like no coincidence in our video today. There was 2 articles that are main dominant articles for the crypto world right now is stablecoins. USDT dominance is still reigning supreme at 61.7%. So fresh dry powder is entering the system, which it is equal to a bullish setup. So we're starting to see some actual cash flow into the systems. Top chains with inflows: Ethereum, 266 million, Arbitrum, 155 million, and Zirkit at $12 million. And we have a SOS right here for Avalanche, minus 45 million continued outflows. So some bridge trends right now: Arbitrum, 244.8 million bridged, hyperliquid narrative. So a lot of action going on in the Arbitrum network. Flare with 44 million bridged. So the narrative is rotating right now, favoring perp dexes, so decentralized exchanges where you can do leverage trading and newer chains. Stablecoin flows, where they're going right now: Binance Chain plus 2.15 billion, Flare plus 87 million, and Hedera plus 33 million. Arbitrum is getting extracted, 87 million coming off of Arbitrum. Expect volatility as capital rotates. Top decentralized exchange volume right now: Solana, 21 billion, Base, 14 billion, and Ethereum, 10 billion. DeFi protocols to watch: Aave, Pendle, Jupiter, Camino, Fluid, Curve, Sky, Maple, and Gamma Swap. And a major update: Loopscale hacker returned the funds. Protocol preparing to relaunch after audits. Pendle's PTEUSDE stablecoin hit $150 million market cap on Aave in 10 hours. So a huge shout out to our analyst DeFi Mo over inside of Crypto Altcoin Pro University. Don't forget, we have tons of classes for you out there. If you're looking to learn more about crypto and you want to go at your own pace, we have an amazing over 100 courses for you, pre-recorded. Come in and learn anything and everything you need to know. Plus, taking a look at our calendar here, we have live calls nearly every single day of the week, except for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, heading over to XRP in the charts. Now, as we've been following along, a couple of things. So one, Our short-term momentum had maxed out at 100 and it had been sitting there for multiple days. In fact, it maxed out on April 15th. So over 2 weeks sitting at its high. So it is doing a reset right now. And as we talked about, if we can maintain our long-term momentum wave here, which is the wolf pack, if this maintains green, we're going to get less price action as this drops down, right? So when it's green, it's bullish. And as it resets, price action to the downside doesn't have to be as extreme. Conversely, if you remember just a couple of weeks ago when we did reset to 100 and then we had to get a reset back to 0, but we were flashing red, you can see we had that extreme drop to the downside. Now, what's interesting, we do unfortunately have a hidden bearish divergence on our long-term momentum play. Last time we had that was right here, which was the peak of right before a drop. And then the time before that was right here. We had a peak before a drop. And those peaks did come down to the trend line. We do now have one. However, we are not in the red. So we could fight this hidden bearish divergence off and continue our momentum to the upside once we get confirmation on the reset of our shaft trend cycle. So like we've been covering though, if for some reason bearish news hits, something bad comes down, there is a possibility our most prevalent support right now, if we drop down, is right here at $2.04 to $2.09. There is a very nice supply area right here we could bounce from. We're having a struggle breaking above this $2.23 resistance level. Now, we got a full body candle close on April 27th above it, a continuation candle above it as well. But unfortunately, we started to peter out to the downside just 2 days later. We are still now having a struggle here to get back above that level. It is very, very important we claim this as an actual support. One candle above and then a fail is not support, unfortunately. If we get a support and then continuation, multiple candles to the upside, we are then looking at coming up to our next resistance level, $2.51, 250, 251 area. And that's according to our spider lines that are historical, and they've been spot on going all the way back to 2018 with our pivot point of array for April 2021. So right now, resistance is here, 225. After we break that with some confirmation of the upside, we're going to be going up to 250. After that, we'll be going up to the 280 level. Those are our next major resistance levels. And those are not like day by day. Those are going to take several days to get to those levels. Support levels, the opposite direction. Obviously, the 209 to 204. If we lose that, it's going to be $1.90. And if it starts to get really hairy and dirty, like this comes back down, drops below the 0 line, turns red, back to bearish. You know, this is the first time we've been bullish since breaking down February 4th. We finally broke above this on April 24th, and we're staying above it, which is positive, but we haven't got that volume surge to the upside. Like you can see, we were making moves to the upside here and here. We haven't really got it. It's kind of flattening out, and it does have a bearish indication. Short-term momentum also needs to come down, reset at this point. So when we take a look at Bitcoin, for example, when it broke above its daily 0 line, it really had a nice surge to the upside. And as you can see right now, the shaft trend cycle also resetting on it, but it bounced off the 50 line here. And today we're having a pretty good surge for Bitcoin, as you can see right now, up $2,400. We had talked about this level, this 94,000, which was going to be a support, and it has created a nice volume support there, broke above the 618 of the Fibonacci. It does have a very strong and weird supply and demand zone right here, and it's very big. It's actually from 99,000 to 95. So for confidence and confirmation, we need to break above $100,000. And then that then leads us to the 786, which is the ultimate for a pullback. And then we'll have to see if it starts to flow to the downside from there. That's what we called out a couple of days ago. We wanted to see this get up here, create this as a support level. It's now broken above the 618, create support here, and then make its move to the upside. Conversely, it was potentially going to come back, fill in this fair value gap back here. But with Bitcoin dominance being such a strong factor right now at 64.70 on TradingView, and it just hit a hidden bullish divergence. So Bitcoin's still doing really, really strong things in the markets for sure. When we zoom out on the weekly charts, we can see, so if we switch to our supply and demand zone candles here, Heikin-Ashi, let's take this right here, and this green candle would be a great supply and demand zone for a rejection, or we could use this one here. Okay, so these are our two levels we'll watch looking for a rejection. We would like to see a rejection of Bitcoin dominance so altcoins can rip to the upside. Right now, everything is super bullish. Look at this. As soon as it crossed over the zero line, it's just been chugging along Bitcoin dominance ever since. Very bullish there. On the weekly charts, it has now hit a supply and demand zone. It's also maxed out on its shaft trend cycle, but it's still super bullish on that long-term cycle there. But as you can see, it's hitting the supply and demand zone exactly right now. So if it breaks through here, it is going to surge up, and more than likely it'll be surging up to the 67% dominance. Absolutely nuts. And then its ultimate resistance for this level will be 73%. Going back to Bitcoin on the daily, let's look at the Heikin-Ashi levels and get rid of this here. So right now, if we're taking a look at where could some supply and demand issues be on the daily charts, let's look at daily. Sorry, that was weekly. Let's look at daily charts here. So we'll find our highest possible point, which is Bitcoin's all-time high candle. And we'll go ahead and draw our box. What's crazy is that was a very large candle. I mean, look at that candle. From 99,000 to 100, that was a $10,000 candle. All right, so then we go down the drop a little bit here and we find, let's get rid of that because that's just too big. I want to see where we're at right now. So interestingly enough, you can see this green candle, these Heikin-Ashi reset zones right here. That is perfect for where we're at. So we're going to go ahead and highlight this because all of these little Heikin-Ashi candles fit inside of this one. And so this is what we're going to be watching for. Let's get rid of these lines here. So what we're looking for on traditional candles, we need to see Bitcoin break through this level. And this would be super bullish. Yeah, so 99,508. It's the same zone that I had before. Now let's check to the downside. If for some reason we reject here on the daily, we actually have one right here. So this is good news. Okay, so this level here, it would be support all the way in here. Let's change the color on this one to yellow, box of yellow. So that would be a support level, which is very good because it's broken above that line and it's hopefully going to continue. If it dropped below that level, then we would have this box here, potentially back to 85,000. Let's look at XRP's chart. I'm going to go to a fresh screen here. Let's pull up the weekly. Let's go Heikin-Ashi and let's see what we got. All right. So when it comes to XRP, unfortunately, we have this massive weird weekly candle. So that's going to kind of ruin the weekly option. But let's go ahead and go with this candle as an important one. So out of all this green, there's one red candle on Heikin-Ashi. So right here. And sure enough, that's where we need to break. So if we break this level, we're going to be looking good there. That's on the weekly. Let's take a look at the daily. Our top candle for the daily is going to be this candle before it turns red into this candle. Where's the tippity top? Okay, then we had all this and then it drops down to here and then it rallies back up. So we could use this candle right here. Switch back to traditional candles and let's take a look at what we got. Okay, so sure enough, this historic price level, that's very, very important for XRP. We couldn't break that level the other day. So once we get up here, we need to break above this $2.34 level. 234, claim that as a support. We can then make our way up into here. And these are supply and demand zones, which are different from my spider lines, but these are where lots of accumulation, some people call them order blocks, et cetera, et cetera. Just depends on what time frame you're on, but that's what we need. We need to break 235. We can get up into this level, create this as a support pocket at 275, and then we can make our way up back to $3. Okay, so that's positive news. Let's look at negative news. What would happen if we start to lose momentum, if the markets do start to crash? On the daily charts, we've talked about this before, but it's $1.45. For, as you can see, the way you can find supply and demand zones with Heikin-Ashi is all this green and then a random red candle, all this green, and then you would drop to the bottom, which would be this candle here, because that's before the next move to the upside. But right here, $1.46. And in fact, let's have some fun here. So this was the move up, and then it piddled down, and it finally came, and this became the bottom candle before the reversal. So this is a good zone here. And so when we look on that zone now on traditional candles, you can see when we broke out above it, we have created a nice support level here. Look at this. You can see how important this level is. The candles are literally riding on this as a support, broke down to it. Even though the wicks are below it, the bodies of the candle, caught the bottom of it right here. Right now, it was trying to break so many times with wicks, but no body. Finally, a body out of it. Coming back down, test, multiple tests, all on this zone, which came to us from the daily candle of December 31st, which was the bottom of this pullback before the surge to the all-time high. So let's do some short-term stuff for fun here since you guys are watching, and make sure you subscribe if you're getting value. Let's go ahead and we're going to remove everything. And then what we do, we'll go to the 1 hour charts and we'll do Heikin-Ashi candles and we'll see how this works. Okay. So first and foremost, this is our current high level. Let's go ahead and draw a horizontal line connected to that highest candle there. Boom. Okay. 236 is our highest candle right now. And then we're going to go ahead and use that. So this was the move to the upside. This was the top of the candle. And this was the last green before we started our downtrend. So this last green is the important candle, but this high is the most important level to the upside, right? So 230, and look at this. Look at price came down. It tested at 230, tested at 230, it broke down. So in our short-term 1 hour candles or our 1 hour time frames here, these are what's the most important. So now let's look to the downside. All of this drop continued to happen to the downside. Then we have this last red candle before our most recent short up move. So it's going to be that red candle, but it does also have a potential bottom down here. So it's sitting in no man's land right now. So we do know its lower level zone is here at 217, and its next resistant level when it starts to make its move is $2.30. Now what we can also do is go from the drop and find the anomalies. So as we see here, this red drop, and then there's some green here. This candle, just the green, the top one, is a very important key level. The drop continued, then there's a green candle here, and then the drop continued. So these are going to be our resistance levels on the way up. And sure enough, that's what's been happening. So as you can see, price came all the way down, started chugging along, trying to make its break up, got to this level. It couldn't break. Wick, broke down, tried through, finally a body, but no confirmation, no follow through because it had another strong resistance level here, broke down, and now it's trying to surge up. And right now it's running into its own volume resistance. So it's got to break through this level, 223, 224, 224.60, and then all the way up here where we'll start to see potentially a little bit easier flow. Because you can see where the drop came and then the drop came. So once we break above 250 or $2.26, we could see a move back to 230. And something I like to do along with this is when I'm using the charts to give myself some confirmation, I'll go in here and I'll look for the fair value gap. And so as you can see, price was coming down in such a speed, it left a fair value gap right here, and price came up and filled it all the way in. So when we're looking at this right now, we have a fair value gap sitting up right here, and then we have one right here, and then price could finish up into this zone where it will get stopped.
Hey, bull runners, check this out. If you want to learn how to find the next 10x, 50x, or even 100x altcoin in this video, listen to this. Our research team posted GOAT on the 13th of October of 2024 when it was right at a penny, and since then it rallied to over $1 and is currently still up over 5,000%. That's like turning $1,000 into over $50,000. Our team called Pendle at only a $16 million market cap, or 16 cents, back on February 18th of 2023, all the way back here, and since then it's rallied up over 4,000%. That's a 40x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $40,000. Our team also called BitTensor Tau September 15th, 2022, before the token was ever even launched. And since then, Tau has rallied over 2,000%. That's a 20x. Our team even said Solana is most likely to be one of the easiest trades next year, and this was posted December 29th, 2022, on the day that Solana bottomed out at around $8. And since then, Solana looks like it's up over 2,500%. That's a 25x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $25,000. And the bull run is just getting started. The list goes on and on and on. Our team called Sui, Ondo, and even some of the biggest cult-based meme coins like MOG back in July 20th of 2023, the day that MOG launched. So if you want to learn how our team is finding these altcoins before they explode, we just launched Altcoin Pro University, where our research team gives you real-time altcoin picks with explosive potential for this bull run, along with 100+ expert curated classes crafted by industry experts to discover these gems yourself, on top of our live weekly calls every single week for in-depth crypto market analysis and daily updates. And that's just a fraction of what we offer inside of Altcoin Pro University. Just go through the link in the description below, get in right now, watch the 26-minute video covering everything that Altcoin Pro University offers.